Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Breath of Fire 2. Last episode, we went to the Thieves' tomb in order to get the Thieves' emblem, which we were gonna sell for more funds for the war against Saint Eva, since there is a resistance group that will likely help us get Rand's mom back since she was kidnapped and whisked off to Evrai. And joining me today for some treasure collection is... sadly, nobody, because Audacity had a really strange glitch where I saved it, but then the next time I loaded it up, it just said there were a bunch of orphaned blocks that were not recoverable. It was the very first time I ever got that error in Audacity, and, well, Skyzo doesn't like redoing things, so I figured I'd tag in this time. So yeah, we're gonna cook another gold biscuit, 2 of them actually, because we're gonna do some shopping in this very episode to get one of the strongest pieces of equipment in the game, the Ares Shield. It has a really high defensive value, but not only that, it also casts Might for free to double our attack. And that's gonna come in real handy because we're also going to fish up something from the deep blue seas, because now is when fishing finally becomes relevant once again. And not just fishing mineros, fishing up actual items, because in some locations in the overworld, there are treasure boxes that you can hook. Now, you can't access these till much later, however, because most rods aren't strong enough. You can technically do it with the deluxe rod from SimaFort or Fort Niger, but it's incredibly difficult, even for me, so I recommend just waiting until you get the angler's rod. For treasures, like the Emperor's Edge, right down here. Also, if you are wondering why I killed off Ryu and Nina in that random encounter, well, remember, the run formula is really weird. Basically, you get bonuses for if your total HP average is 70% of the total party HP. And it also only counts the agility of your living party members, and as we went over in part 3, you need a massive advantage over your other enemies in the agility department in order to have guaranteed chances of running, and fortunately we can accomplish that even in this area full of very advanced enemies. We've got the Chimera threatening as ever. We've got those horned guys that can attack twice really hard, but we also have the volcanic rocks and the marble golems who have only 1 vigor. And the combined vigor of Lean and Sten, well, I don't recall the exact amount, but it is more than enough to guarantee the run from those guys. Anyways, we got the strongest sword in the game from the last fishing spot, the Emperor's Edge, and now this one is going to be the life armor. It is the strongest armor in the game, and more importantly, it has automatic resistance to all holy elemental spells. And in the case of enemies, that would be all status ailments. So Ryu is now completely immune to status ailments on top of everything else. And as far as I'm aware, he's the only one that can equip the Emperor's Edge as well. So he's kinda got himself exclusive equipment. I mean, the life armor isn't exclusive to him. In fact, I'm gonna put it on Sten for these random encounters so he isn't knocked out of fusion form. And then I'm gonna grind at this exact spot here until the fishing spot opens up. Do not grind on a spot next to this fishing spot, like a tile or 2 away. You have to be directly to the right of it in order for it to spawn. If you try to grind on the island, it will never appear, and that has frustrated a lot of children in the past. I can tell you that much, so watch out for that. grind at the exact tiles I was grinding on, and you should be good. And yes, this here is the last Monero we will ever fish. The fabled Ares shield guy. That text box amuses me every time. Now, the thing with the Ares shield is that it costs 50,000 zenny, which is a lot, even for this point in the game, which is part of the reason why we've been collecting treasure all this time and cooking up gold bricks. We are going to need to sell every nickel and dime we've got, and every spare piece of outdated equipment in order to come close to buying this thing. Unfortunately, I know this game well enough that I bought it with 2,000 zenny to spare, and if you were less liberal with battle items and the like, you could probably cut down the price. But then you would lose a bit of efficiency. Anyways, swap the Ares shield to the very top of your inventory slot, and it will be the first in your inventory every time you want to use it, and we will be using it a lot because it is so good that, well, without getting into too many spoilers, there's a third Kaiser Dragon form, something that does 999 damage every time you cast it. And even with the existence of that Kaiser Dragon form, you still kill the final boss faster by having Ryu just spam physical melee attacks with the Emperor's Edge mited with the Ares shield. Ryu's melee is that strong, and his death blows are that high. It is incredible what he can do with the Emperor's Edge. Actually, speaking of that, he can also cast lightning with it, or S-boom. That actually occasionally helps secure some damage ranges, like say against a death spider group in the next dungeon, so it's also really useful for that purpose as well. And yes, Tiga is in love with Lean. Well, you know the wonderful thing about Tigas, so I guess this shouldn't have been a shock to us, but still, I rather like Lean in my party, so hopefully this won't escalate too far out of control. And knowing this game, well, maybe I shouldn't have jinxed it there. Okay, what's up, Tiga? Oh, no, 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 I don't like where this is going. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Fine, he's being stupid. Yeah, I'm not Lean's boyfriend. I like Nina. She's the one with curves and smarts, and she can fly, and she's rich, or will be, presumably. I mean, well, there's that music glitch again. Now, it turns out that was actually something introduced in the fan translation. Apparently, there was some code that Ryusui overwrote in order to have yes and no prompts be slightly indented. But he accidentally overwrote some music instruction as well, so when you get the yes and no prompts, all areas default to their, well, default music. But in any case, you don't have to fight this guy, but I'm gonna show the fight anyway, just to show just how much damage I could do to this guy's body if I really wanted to. See, look at that limp-wristed strike. It can't even two-hit KO me, and like I said, we've got all the game's best gear now. I don't see how this fight could possibly be any trouble. Especially not with healing. I mean, got all the advantages here. Anyways, let's check out the fruits of our work and... Why didn't his health go down? I wasn't imagining that, right? His health didn't budge? Yeah, it didn't budge. Because unfortunately, this fight is unwinnable. And it's really irritating because, for one thing, they don't tell you that it's unwinnable. Like, the only reason I can see that his health isn't going down is because I have that cheat enabled for entertainment purposes. In the base game, there'd just be a black bar with a question mark, just like it is with every other boss. Now, if they want to have every other boss have a visible health bar, like in Breath of Fire 1, and then just have this guy have the question mark health bar, that would have been a good way of showing that the battle was unwinnable, but instead, you get a crush on Lean, or some guys do at least, and then you fight your absolute hardest and drain all your items trying to beat this guy down to no avail because you're not supposed to win. And I never did like that in RPGs. I mean, you can do some story-related stuff with it, like say, at the beginning of the game, you feel helpless against the big bads, or maybe someone really awesome is introduced only to get clowned by a villain in order to make the villain look awesome. And, you know, you can do stuff with that, but in this game, I don't think it was used well, so I just end up being irritated at the fact that I can do like 3,000 to 4,000 to this guy, as you saw, and not be rewarded for it in any way. Still, we do at least get this really cool campfire scene, complete with the eyeball effect. I always did like that. I think Skyzo did as well. He commented on that in the last audio we had. But my favorite part is the tail wagging animation with Lean. It's beautiful. I mean, credits to this game's art team. They really did a bang-up job with this. I mean, I have some compunctions with the gameplay itself, but what this game does well, it does really, really well. And even the story, too, like, the story even has its moments, too, like with here, talking about the nature of true love. I also like this line here. Lean's trying to be all deep and philosophical, and he just dismisses it with, I don't get it, whatever. Rather too bad for Lean, to be honest. I mean, Ryu and Nina is kind of a foregone conclusion anyway, considering the fate of every other Ryu and Nina in the series, so if this thing with Tiga don't work out, Lean's gonna have to find someone outside the party, I guess. Oh well, but anyways, that will be all for this episode. Hopefully I've kept you entertained enough even without Skyzo's presence. He always does add a lot to these videos. Makes it fun. Also gives me someone to bounce off of and relate to and talk to directly. Part of the reason why I jumped to YouTube videos, actually. I used to do screenshot LPs, but it was a lonesome and long enough process that eventually I got burnt out about the whole thing. And then I jumped to YouTube, where I have a friend to talk to throughout the entire video length. That was one of the main draws for me. But enough of my rambling. See you all tomorrow, and God bless you all.